Hey everybody, Jim Ingersoll, and I'm here hanging out with a really good friend of mine, James Bryant, who's also in Richmond, Virginia with me. And we want to talk to you because everywhere you go nowadays, what do you hear? You hear the fear, F-E-A-R, fear, 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 fear. We got a pandemic, we got the coronavirus, we've got unemployment jacking up like crazy. We have people with addictions are going through the roof right now. And everywhere you go, you hear negative news, negative news, negative news. But I'm hanging out with James Bryant, who always chooses to be happy. And we want to provide you guys with I guess, like a pathway to hope, joy, and happiness in the middle of all the chaos and fear that we're seeing all the way around us today. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Be ready to share it with somebody else who's got some need, and share the hope and the joy that you're going to find with somebody else who's struggling right now. James, how you doing?
Hey man, I am doing great. And as I said at Dealmaker Live, and I will continue to say, I choose to be happy. Even in the midst of everything that you just described, which is absolutely a fact, the news coverage, all of the things that you hear is very negative. The fact that people are now at stay-at-home orders, they're encouraging you not to necessarily go out. Businesses have closed, or they're shut up right now, waiting for this thing to move forward. But the reality is those things are happening, and there's nothing that we can do about that. But the only thing that we can do is choose how we want to show up in life. So if I'm going to dig into the hope, then that means that I have to begin to enjoy this present time. I have to, I was talking to some colleagues yesterday, we were doing a video conference, and they were like, oh, the parents are stuck at home with the kids. No, 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 no. I get the privilege and the opportunity to spend more time with my children because they're here and out of school. So a lot of times it really depends on how you frame the situation. I mean, there's no way of getting around the fact that this is just a really rough time for our country, but you have to be able to take that and reframe that in the way that you can move forward for yourself. And I find, really focusing in on this present moment and being able to enjoy what's happening in my life right now, being able to focus in on the things that I have, not the things that I don't have. Yes, I miss doing my Orange Theory workouts. Yes, I miss, going different places and doing things. But man, I get to see my kids flourish in a different way. I get to spend more time with them where I'm not just exposed to the before school or the after school them, but I'm exposed to all of them, the things that they like, the things that they don't like. And it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, even for me, like, I'm a happy person, always happy, for the most part, but I've had to adjust. I've been working from home for quite some time, but I've had to adjust because the kids are here. So I can look at that and say, oh man, my schedule is different. I can't believe it. Or I can approach it and say, this is a great opportunity for me to bond with my children. Not that I wasn't bonding with them before, but I can bond with them even more. I mean, so what we've been working clients through is a process that I call pause, and it's positive attitudes, ushering in self-empowerment.
Wow.
And what that is that you really want to look at the situation that you have from a positive perspective. And when you begin to think on it from a positive perspective, focus on it and look at it, you begin to usher in your ability to use that positive attitude to empower yourself to enjoy the present and really focus on the things that you have and be grateful for what you have.
Wow, boy, that was a lot there. So, I mean, you covered a lot of stuff, and this is a great opportunity. I mean, the kids are around, so is your spouse in a lot of cases right now. But I know it's your people are trying to work from home, and there's chaos and there's noise, and you don't have the privacy. Now, I think people appreciate their wives and the caretakers of their kids and their parents more than ever before.
Yes.
because it is a lot of work to keep all these families together during the pandemic. I mean, it's crazy. So all this stuff, all the fear, the chaos, none of that matters to you. The circumstances of our world do not define your happiness.
That is correct. The circumstances are what they are. They are neither good nor bad. They are what they are. How we respond to those circumstances or how we think about those circumstances start to determine whether they're good or bad, right? Just in terms of my own personal perspective. So the circumstance is what it is. I can't change that. But what I can change and what I do have control over is how I think about the situation. And then how I think determines how I act. And you're absolutely right. We're in a situation where, I'm here, there's much more noise than there were before. There are many more interruptions than there were before. In the first week when all of this was going on, I was still happy but irritated, right? But, you have to get to the point and say, this is the new normal, right? This is the new normal. So I can either mope and be upset, or I can choose to be happy. If I mope and I'm upset, how is that serving me? And how is that going to help me move forward toward the goals that I have for building my real estate business, for building my coaching practice? How is that going to help? When I start to think about it from a positive perspective, then when I hear the noise, when I hear my youngest son singing or doing something, instead of saying, man, I wish he would be quiet, I'm thinking, God, I thank you for the opportunity to be able to see him in his native environment, in an environment where he is happy and he's singing and he's joyful. In the midst of all of the other things that are going on, he's running around singing, having a good time. And so if he can tap into that happiness, why can't the rest of us?
That is powerful. So we both go to West End Assembly of God together, and we're both on the board together and all that cool stuff. How important is drawing on your faith during this difficult time as well? And how can you encourage people in that direction at the same time?
I think it's absolutely crucial to draw in on your faith. For me, it's a center of who I am. It's a part of who I've chosen to be. And when things get tough, or I start to think about things that are tough, I think about the Bible. I go and I'll read and I'll spend time in prayer and just time asking God to help me appreciate this moment. So the same tools and ideas and things that I may talk someone through naturally, I'll talk through those things with God and ask God to help me internalize those things, to help God help me to really focus in on the present and to see the present through his eyes and to be able to see the opportunities. Because a lot of times we miss opportunities because our eyes are closed to what's in front of us. We're so busy looking toward the future as to when this thing will move, go past, that we can't enjoy or take advantage of the opportunities that are available to us now. So for me, faith is an integral part of that. You really have to leverage your faith to help you continue to move forward.
Leverage your faith. I love it. You're talking about that. It reminds me of the Psalms, because I've been reading the Psalms a lot lately. I love Psalm 91, and Psalm 23, of course. But David went through a lot of like peaks and valleys, and he asked God really hard questions. And I think it's okay. I'm glad you brought that up, because you said, you have a conversation with God. That's all prayer really is, right? How would you encourage somebody who's never really prayed but has some questions for God right now to give it a try?
I would say really just, if you've never really had a conversation with God, start by having a conversation with God. And that just means start asking God, hey, God, I'm here. I'm going through this situation with the coronavirus, with the pandemic. I need your help. I need your peace. I need your guidance. And more importantly, I need you. Because if you have God, then you have his peace, his guidance, his protection, his insight, his wisdom. If you have him, you have all of that. And so it's kind of like a package deal. A lot of times we focus on the things that we can get from God and not God himself. And so when we begin to focus on God himself, you understand that you get the rest of the package. Like, so I can look at Jim Ingersoll and say, oh, Jim, I want what Jim does, and I want this, and I want that. But if I get to know Jim as the person and we become friends, then I have access to all of who Jim is, in a sense.
I love it. Okay, so better you for you. Don't let your circumstances define your future, your hope, your happiness, your peace. Pray to God often in this time.
Yes.
It's a good time to do that. And I'm going to post a link to our online church below as well, James. And
okay.
Any of our listeners that want to jump in, man, I saw you in the chat Sunday. It was good to finally see you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Join us. We'll be there, won't we?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
All right. Any final words of encouragement for somebody who's struggling with fear, pandemic, corona, unemployment, addiction issues in your families, whatever it is? I say just give it all over to God and don't let those circumstances define your pathway to peace and happiness. Final words for you?
Yeah, I would agree with you. If you look at the way our logo is, it's better you for you, change starts here. And it's really a person, if I can move out of the way, it's a person kind of looking in the mirror because change really starts with us. And we can focus in on God and ask God to help us with that change. And then we can just, like you said, seek God, give it over to God, but understand that we need to change what we're thinking about, what we're focusing on. If we're focusing on the negative news, whatever it is, whatever your news is, then that's going to be in your mind. And I would say change what you're listening to, change what you're looking at, change what you're reading. The things that you feed are the things that grow. So if you feed your fears will grow. If you feed your faith will grow. If you feed peace in your life, your level of peace will grow. So it doesn't matter what the thing is, but the thing that you want to grow is the thing that you need to feed. And as you are feeding that, God continues to give you strength and power and support to help you along with that process. A lot of times we think that we're just going to, say, God, I need change, but there's no change required of us, but we play an active part in that change. And so I always come back to, we have a role to play in the lives that we want, and you get to choose how you show up in life.
I love it. So let's end with some actionable items. I heard some there, and I'll start with being grateful because that's what I always go back to. And maybe you guys can leave us in your comments what you're grateful for. Maybe you just want to do it privately in your journal, but list 3 to 5 things and people that you're grateful for. Actually text out to some people that you're grateful for and tell them why you're grateful for them. This is also a great time to get on the phone and talk to your mom, your dad,
Yes.
your brother, your aunts, your uncles, and reach out to those people. I heard you say number 2, change what you're focusing on.
Yes.
Turn off the news for the next 48 hours if you have to, whatever you got to do. And then focus on other stuff like maybe prayer, reading the Bible. I'm reading a book by Max Lucado right now on happiness. It's called How Happiness Happens. So go check that book out if you want. Max Lucado is a great author.
Yeah.
Phenomenal author. And so it allows you to focus on some different things. And finally, I'm looking for a number 3. What would the last item be for people that want actionable items to find that pathway to hope, peace, and joy?
Okay, so
gratitude, change your focus.
Mm-hmm.
How about enjoy the moment?
You have to. You have to be present.
You have brand new opportunities all around you. Take a few minutes, everybody, and just write what it is you're struggling with and what you're going to focus on differently to find that pathway to joy. And then I think when this is all over, go back and look at that, and you'll see that you made it through.
Yeah.
From chaos to happiness. Is that okay?
Absolutely, Jim. Thank you. It was a great summary. I think it's absolutely, again, One of the techniques we use is pause, positive attitudes, ushering in self-empowerment.
Love that.
So understanding when you start feeling stressed out, when you start feeling overwhelmed, take a pause. Take a pause. Positive attitudes, ushering in self-empowerment.
I love that. And share with us what your fears are. Leave it in the comments. Share this with somebody who might need it. Share with your social media contacts who might need it. And James, I really appreciate you doing this with me. I can't wait to see you again. Here's a virtual hug, a virtual high five,
Yeah, you got it.
to see you in person again when we're past this social distancing thing. Thanks for sharing that amazing smile that God gave you and the gifts that you've got.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, that's it. Find happiness. Don't let fear dictate your life. By the way, fear is mentioned 365 times in the Bible. You can read one every day of the year and learn how to destroy it. Thanks, everybody. See you later.